So week 8 in the National Football League went as well as it possibly could for my money line picks and best predictions. We're gonna get into it. Plus, if there were any trades that happened at the time of this recording, which of course is the middle afternoon here on this Tuesday, on Halloween, I will let you know. Of course, the Chicago Bears just picked up Montez Sweat from the Washington Commanders as one of those trades. So again, we're going to integrate the trade talk and everything. I'll talk more about it on Thursday when the trade deadline passes. Without further ado, this is my Week 8 2023 NFL recap. And we're starting it off with Thursday night football because the Buffalo Bills defeated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 24-18. Now, the score doesn't indicate that this game was not really close. Buffalo dominated the whole game pretty much. Josh Allen looked really good. Had a couple fluky turnovers, but really the whole night Buffalo's offense kept going up and down on Tampa. Tampa, after the hot start, I said on the show I wasn't sure it was going to last. This is Baker Mayfield, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. And really the loss last week to Atlanta solidified that Tampa Bay is not an actual contender. Now, the line in this game was 8.5, and I said going in, I would not bet the line. I wouldn't be surprised if Buffalo blew them out by 30. I also wouldn't be surprised if Tampa was able to get a backdoor touchdown and cover, which they did. I don't think, by the way, this solves all of Buffalo's issues. We know what Buffalo kind of is at this point. They beat up on the really bad teams. They can play with the good teams, but it's all about the consistency of Josh Allen. They were able to run the ball with James Cook on Thursday night, which is always the key. Again, I think Tampa Bay at this point is sellers. I still don't know what to make of that putrid NFC South division, but could Mike Evans, could Chris Godwin be on the trade market? I would not trade either one of them. I think, a Lavonte David, a Shaq Barrett. I would move off those defensive pieces more than the offensive pieces and set my eventual future quarterback up for success. Now, I told you the Washington Commanders, they always give the Philadelphia Eagles trouble, and it seems like Sam Howell and Commanders offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy have a beat on Sean Desai, the Eagles defensive coordinator, and that Philly defense, because Sam Howell nearly threw for 400 yards, but the Washington Commanders, outside of 2 goal line fumbles, one by Jalen Hurts on the brotherly shove, one by Kenneth Gainwell, held Philadelphia, quote unquote, to 38 points. Again, if it wasn't for those 2 fumbles, it's very possible Philadelphia could have put 52 up on the Commanders, and the Commanders really did get a garbage time touchdown. So, to be honest with you, and this may be my Eagles bias coming in, this game could have been, 52-24 Eagles. Instead, it ends up being 38-31. Again, Philly's defense really struggled in the first half. Washington had a great game plan, but the Eagles were able to adjust. Reed Blankenship with a great interception on Sam Howell, late third, early fourth quarter to really close the book on the game. And then Jalen Hurts. So a lot of people were talking about the turnovers, myself included. It's the only way, seemingly, to stop this Philadelphia team. Did not turn the ball over. A.J. Brown had 2 incredible catches. And I said it really felt like Washington had the game plan to beat Philadelphia. Run the ball for 3 yards a carry, really take time off the clock, the short, quick passing game. They did the short, quick passing game, but they were unable to run the football consistently and keep Jalen Hurts on the sideline for a long period of time. That was the difference in this game. Dallas steamrolled the Rams. I mean, there's not a lot to say. The Rams are pretenders, just like we said at the beginning of the year when they beat Seattle week 1. We said it was a fluke win. We said week 1 really doesn't matter. Dallas can beat up on the bad teams at home. Dak Prescott had a good game. Matthew Stafford ended up leading the game. We'll see what comes out of it. Again, Dallas, Philadelphia, huge matchup that we'll preview on Thursday on Brandon's World. But at the end of the day, this was really just Dallas beating up on the Rams. Dallas covers, obviously, the 6.5. This game was not really competitive from the start. Again, Cowboys win 43-20. Speaking of a not competitive game, how about the Jets and the Giants? The Giants had -9 passing yards. I mean, I think this is more of an indictment on Zach Wilson and the Jets offense for needing overtime and having 7 points when it came down to the last play of the game. Really, the throw to Garrett Wilson, they were able to get the spike off, kick the field goal, go to overtime. Again, this was my survivor pool bet of the week. I really thought the Jets defense would shut down Tyrod Taylor and the Giants, which they did. I mean, Tyrod Taylor ended up leaving the game in the second quarter. The Giants, not really having a quarterback for the second half. They could not move the ball, but really the Giants defense, which obviously now just sold off Leonard Williams to the Seattle Seahawks. I think that's a good move for Seattle. The Giants know they're not going anywhere. They need to make a move at the quarterback position, but they're tied $40 million at Daniel Jones. What can you do? The Jets defense is really good. Their offense is not. We knew it already. The fact that Zach Wilson needed overtime again to beat the Giants to me is a little bit of a bad sign for the Jets offense going forward. Miami beat New England 31-17. I said we all knew Miami would win the game. The question was, would they cover the 9.5-point line, which seemed big, but Miami was able to get another touchdown in the fourth quarter there to extend that lead to Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, once again looking very good in a Dolphins uniform at home, playing a bad defense. The question always is with Miami, what will they do against good teams? On the New England register, they ended up losing Kendrick Bourne to a torn ACL, another wide receiver down. The New England offense, a lot like the Jets offense, a lot like the Giants offense, is really a pop gun offense. A lot like Pittsburgh's offense that only mustered 10 points. It was part of my best bets. I took Jacksonville -2.5. I said in the rain, in the weather, Travis Etienne was going to have a good game. Jacksonville's a better team than Pittsburgh. I don't care if Pittsburgh's at home or not. Jacksonville leads the week in takeaways, and I don't think Kenny Pickett and the Steelers are going to be able to move the ball. Now, Pittsburgh fans are going to blame Matt Canada, and he's certainly a bad offensive coordinator. But at the end of the day, Kenny Pickett is not a franchise quarterback. He's a Baker Mayfield-like player. You can win games with him. He really is like Sam Howell and Baker Mayfield, right? You can win games with him, maybe for Gardner Minshew in that conversation as well. Win games with him. You're not going to the promised land with Kenny Pickett. Sorry, Pittsburgh fans. Indianapolis, this was my one miss of my best bets. I had Indianapolis -1.5 against the Saints. Looked very good early, and then Derek Carr, Shaheed, Chris Olave, the Saints offense really tortured the Colts defense and that secondary in the second half. Will Indianapolis be able to bounce back? I'm not sure. Their season has kind of felt lost now, ever since the Anthony Richardson injury. For the Saints, the question is going to be, can they build on this momentum? Very easy schedule going forward. Are they going to be the team that sort of goes above and beyond here in the NFC South? Because Atlanta certainly is not. Desmond Ridder was benched. They gave 4 touchdowns to Will Levis, who I said going into the draft, I did not love Will Levis coming out of Kentucky. I was surprised he dropped to the second round, but he was a little bit too cocky for me. Reminded me a little bit of Zach Wilson. Reminded me a little bit of Johnny Manziel, as well as I did not think that he was going to be a consistent thrower. And listen, I'm not sold on Will Levis yet. Everybody that wants to buy your Will Levis stock, go ahead. I'm still a fan of Bryce Young, which I did call Carolina +3, knocking off Houston. I'm still a fan of Anthony Richardson. I still think CJ Stroud is going to be okay. I don't think he's that next level franchise quarterback that people already want to anoint him as. I think he struggles against really good defenses. And I think Bryce Young, coming off a bye, played really well there for Carolina and showed you his potential. Nonetheless, though, this doesn't change my opinion on Tennessee or Atlanta. Atlanta, you cannot trust any of the skill position players. Bijan Robinson, Jonnu Smith, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Tyler Algier. We just don't know what we're going to get week to week. Will it be Desmond Ridder? Will it be Taylor Heineke? I don't think Arthur Smith really has any idea. Tennessee to really show off. Maybe Ryan goes to Minnesota. Obviously, Kirk Cousins goes down with the Achilles. Minnesota may try to salvage their season. They may not. We don't know. Again, good solid win for Tennessee. I missed it. It was one of the only couple games that I missed on the money line picks. Houston ended up knocking off, or excuse me, Carolina ended up knocking off Houston, as I already said. Minnesota ended up knocking off Green Bay, as I already said. It'll be interesting to see what Minnesota does with Kirk Cousins now, with his injury, what happens as the season progresses. For Green Bay, we already know Jordan Love can't play. It's getting more and more obvious each and every week. The shock of the week really was Denver. Obviously, we thought there was going to be more snow on the ground. The maintenance crew did a good job getting that field ready to play. Regardless, Russell Wilson looked great. They were able to run the ball. Kansas City looked sloppy. I still think they're going to be there at the end. Again, don't sell your cheap stock. We'll see if they can get a wide receiver at the trade deadline. If they feel like they need to upgrade to the upgrade they already made with McCall Hardman. Baltimore took care of Arizona. Arizona was able to get a backdoor cover. Josh Dobbs is benched. We'll see if a guy like Josh Dobbs or Jacoby Brissett moves to Cleveland, who the Evan Stefanski play call. It was 3rd and 3. The Browns had a chance to win the game. You all know PJ Walker throws the ball off the helmet of a Browns offensive lineman into the lap of Jamal Adams. Allows Seattle to march right down the field. Seattle wins the game 24-20. Terrible play call by Kevin Stefanski. The defense did their job. They gave 17 points in the first quarter, and up until that point in the fourth, they haven't given up a point since. Geno Smith did not have a good day. Seattle's offense is not very good. There's all this talk about Seattle now, who obviously overtook San Francisco in the NFC West of being a dangerous team. And I like the addition of Leonard Williams. I think it'll help their pass rush and their run defense on that defensive line. But Geno Smith has not played as good this year as he did last year. They're winning more. And again, part of it to me was just bad coaching by the Browns. So even though they're 4-3, you can make an argument the Browns could be 6-2 or even 7-1. Coaching once again cost them another game. I called Cincinnati over San Francisco. I said Brock Purdy is not good against good teams. He's not good against good defenses. Joe Burrow's going to bounce back. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd are going to have a good game against a bad Niners secondary, in my opinion. I was right on that. Tyson Bagent did not come to play. Brandon Staley saved his job. Chargers winning 30-13. And obviously, Devontae Adams had a meltdown for the Raiders. Jimmy Garoppolo is not great. The question is going to be for Vegas. Do they move on from Devontae Adams? As I kept saying, I know Carolina doesn't have a first-round pick, but for the future, that's what they need is to get Bryce Young a weapon. Is a guy like Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Adams. Hell, even if by some wits of God Justin Jefferson available, will one of these teams that are not in contention this year, will they go for a big play wide receiver, sort of like Jacksonville did last year with Calvin Ridley to set them up for next year? Will the good teams like Philadelphia continue to add? Will Buffalo or San Francisco add a piece in the secondary? I think those are the questions that we get to when it comes to the trade deadline. Chicago sort of did that again, adding Montez Sweat from the Washington Commanders. Commanders selling after the loss to the Eagles. Bears get a building block on defense for their future rebuild, which may or may not include Justin Fields, and we'll get that answer as the season commences. I thought this week was really the big separation week in the NFL. We saw who the big boys are. We saw who the pretenders were. Again, money line misses. I went 13-3 in the money line, which puts me at 82-40 on the year. The only games I flat out missed: Colts, I had them beating the Saints. I had Atlanta beating Tennessee. And then I did have Kansas City beating Denver, which I think everybody had that result. Though I said Denver would cover, and I was obviously right on that at the 7.5. My best bets, we had my first push of the year, which was the Jets -3. Vikings covered, Bengals covered, Jags covered. Indianapolis was really the only one that let me down this week. I said I would take Steichen over Dennis Allen. What I did not realize was the difference that Derek Carr was going to make against Gardner Minshew going into that game. Like that clip from the Brands World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brands World podcast right here on YouTube.